A lot of the fans are not happy at the moment with the style of football that Tottenham Hotspur are playing. So just one story today. We're going to talk about the Bentancur and Palhinha partnership and look at a report that states why that could be working or why it might not work in the long term and in certain games. So here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. Okay, let's get into it. Really good report on Sky Sports today claims that Spurs need something different in midfield. It says Thomas Frank faces a midfield selection dilemma ahead of Tottenham's trip to Everton, live on Sky Sports on Sunday. The head coach continues to favour a pairing of Palhinha and Rodrigo Bentancur, but supporters are clamouring for a change. Wednesday's game against Monaco was just the latest in which the balance has looked off in the centre of Frank's team, and it is becoming increasingly apparent that Palhinha and Bentancur are too similar, both players' strengths lying out of possession. Spurs are struggling to progress the ball through the midfield. Amazingly, the pair only directed 7 of a combined 58 passes forward against Monaco. They only found Richarlison 3 times. Substitute Randall Kolo Muani was not found once. The issue was clear in Spurs' defeat to Aston Villa 2, with Bentancur and Palhinha sending only 15 of their 79 passes forward and only finding Matisse Tell once. Even in the win over Leeds, in which Tell scored, he was only fed twice by Palhinha and Bentancur. Tell's goal proved crucial at Ellen Road, but he was substituted in the second half of the game, only having touched the ball 13 times. Spurs profile similarly to Burnley, West Ham and Everton for forward passes and defenders bypassed from central midfield this season, at the opposite end of the scale to the Premier League's top sides. Frank might argue that pairing Palhinha and Bentancur together is a means of adding defensive solidity, but that is hard to make a case after Wednesday's game. Monaco cut through Spurs easily. They had enough chances to win it twice over. Their record with and without them is revealing. Spurs have only won 3 out of 9 games with both players starting this season, and one of them was against League One side Doncaster Rovers in the Carabao Cup. The side's record is far better in their other games, with 3 wins and a draw from 4. In fairness, they are not the only ones that have been found wanted when it comes to servicing the forwards. Simmons provided an assist against West Ham from a corner on his debut following his arrival from RB Leipzig, but has since struggled. Across 2 starts in the number 10 role against Leeds and Villa, he did not manage to complete a single pass to Tottenham strikers. The disconnect running through the heart of the team can be seen in their passing network, which highlights the lack of combinations between their midfield and attack this season. So what are the alternatives? With Simmons still finding his feet, Frank is unfortunate to be without the injured James Maddison and Dejan Kulusevski. Key players who ranked 1st and 3rd respectively among Spurs players for progressive passes last season. Frank's pool of midfielders without them is a shallow one. He has Lucas Bergvall and also mentioned Archie Gray as an option after using him at left back against Monaco. Pat Matasar might be his best bet to bring some much needed drive, having impressed with a goal and 2 assists earlier in the campaign. In the long term, Spurs will probably need to use future transfer windows to redress the balance between ball winners and ball players at the base of their midfield. But in the meantime, a change to the Palhinha and Bentancur axis looks necessary. So here's my thoughts on that story today, just the one. Palhinha-Bentancur partnership, I've seen this all over social media, people moaning that it's too defensive. Playing with a double pivot in games, certainly at home, where you wouldn't expect us to need that double pivot, like against Villa. It just isn't as progressive. When you look at the pass maps of these players, it's all sideways and backwards. Now, you could argue that a defensive midfielder's role is not to create, is not to pass forward. I would personally disagree. I think there's times and places where you can push that ball into the number 10, whether that be Simmons or Bergvall or whoever is playing there, or even up to the strikers in Richarlison and Tell, look to spread it wide to the wings. I just think defensive solidity, I would get it if we weren't conceding goals, which of course we didn't against Monaco, but we were lucky against Monaco. That's the difference. We were very lucky against Monaco. Villa, you could argue, 2 worldy strikes, but in both situations the players weren't shut down quickly enough, and when you've got that wall in front of the back four, you'd expect perhaps a bit more from those players. I think there's definitely a time and a place for Bentancur and Paulinho. I would personally expect to see it against the likes of a PSG, for example, in the Champions League, where you're going to probably not have the ball as much as we'd like to. But there's certain games, and certainly against Everton, I think we need to be a bit more progressive. I would like to see, personally, Paulinho in there in front of the back four, but have a Sarr, drop Bentancur out, put Sarr in there, or a Bergvall, or even if you're going to persist playing with 2 players in there, put Archie Gray in there alongside him. Archie Gray, we know and we've seen, can drive forward, is capable of playing good passes forward. It just doesn't seem to be in Bentancur's game to be able to do that. Or is he being instructed? Are they being instructed not to do that? It's a strange one for me. But I think that midfield 2 does need a shake-up. I think it does need changing. I really want to see it changed against Everton. Yes, we're at their new stadium where they haven't lost yet. But I think this is an opportunity to just try something a little bit different and become more progressive and a bit more attacking. Personally, I think our football's a bit boring to watch at the moment. Get down in the comments, let me know if you feel the same. I would love to see Paulinho, as I say, if he's on his own, fine, but have Archie Gray in there. He performed pretty well in the week. Bergvall hasn't had best games of late. Sarr, I'm not sure why he's not being played as much, but Sarr drives forward. He scored goals for us. He gets in those positions. He's probably the most natural number 8, I would say, we've got at the moment. So whether you're playing Paulinho, Sarr and Simmons, or Paulinho, Gray and Simmons, I'd imagine Javi Simmons stays in that role. We've got to use him for what we bought him for. I just want to see a change in that central midfield role. So just a short one today. I won't go through all the injuries. Everybody knows about the injuries and their players coming back. Hopefully Randall Colomwani will get minutes on Sunday against Everton. I'd love to see him start. I hope he's fit enough to start that match, because he looked lively when he came on. Pressing, he's quite an aggressive player actually, Randall Colomwani. Haven't seen much of him at all. Really haven't. But what I have seen, I loved his work rate and I loved his drive and his aggression. So I want to see that. I want to see a change as well. I want to see us being a bit more progressive and a bit more attacking. But get down in the comments, let me know what you think about that midfield partnership, who you would play in the centre of the park, and anything else you really want to talk about. And as always, come on you Spurs.